All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about memory allocation for your actual server that's going to be hosting your Ignition system. Now, when it comes down to it, the reason you would do this is if, say, for instance, you had latency between your HMI, your actual HMI graphic to your PLC, or vice versa. Or maybe even you had unexplained things happening and you really couldn't tell, or things were so lagged when you did it that it really created so much of a problem. So what happens oftenly, and especially too when it comes to things you just can't understand, or you can't figure out what the root cause of the problem is, but first thing you go ahead and eliminate this. You might do your due diligence and go ahead and upgrade to memory, because by default the Ignition gateway does not allocate that much memory. So I'll actually show you how to do that. Right now we're in Ignition Designer. We're going to go to our gateway, and then we're going to go to status. I need to log into my gateway. Okay, so after I log into my gateway, I can see my environment, right? So I'm using a Windows 10 computer. I can see how much disk space that I currently can use, right? And I can see what versions of different things. I can see right here the performance. But what's most important right here is if you have a latency problem, or if you have a problem that you're worried about how much memory you have, then you come over here to performance, and you can see right now I'm currently using roughly about 700 meg, so almost close to a gig, right? So with the total capacity that Ignition is provided at this point in time is 2 gigs. So when it hits that threshold about 80%, it's going to have a problem. You're going to have some latency issues, you're going to have some timing issues, you're going to have some functions that may not work, alarms are going to be, there's just going to be a slew of problems. So you might want to do this before you even start. But again, a lot of times you'll have an existing system and you need to know how to update that existing system. So again, if like you already have a system that's working in a plant and you're the one working on it and you start seeing all these problems, you might want to investigate this and see if this could be the root problem. Because again, by default, it does not allocate the maximum of memory, because every system, every server, every computer is going to be set up different with memory. So again, so how do we do that? So the question right here is, how do we go ahead and upgrade the maximum memory that can be used by the Ignition gateway? All right, so to do that, we're going to go to File Explorer, and we're going to go right here to this PC. We're going to go to Program Files, and we're going to go to Ignition Automation, Ignition, and then Data. Well, what you're going to look for in data is going to be this ignition.config. Now what you want to do is you want to come over here and edit Notepad+, and then you really want to have Notepad+ start in admin. Mine did not. So what you're looking for is this going to come in here just like this, right? You're going to come all the way down to right here where it says maximum Java heap size. Currently it's set to 2 gigs. Again, 1 gig would be 1024, 2 gigs would be 2048. So let's just say we want to change it to 4 gigs. So we go 496, and then to save, again, I haven't started this Notepad+ in admin, so it's going to prompt me, do you want to change it in admin mode? Yes, I do. So it's going to reopen in admin mode so I can save it. I'm going to save the configuration. Okay, so one thing I want you to note. Okay, so we saved the configuration, we're good here, but you notice it has not changed here, right? Okay, so you're going to have to restart or stop your Ignition gateway and restart it. You can do that multiple ways. You can do that by rebooting the server. You can also do that by just simply going to a batch file that they have. So you go to Ignition, you just back up basically one folder, and you click this. You're going to run as admin. So we're going to stop our Ignition system. We're going to stop it, and then we're going to go ahead and start it back. You see how everything stopped right there? So then we're going to go back to our system right here, then start Ignition gateway. So we're going to hit this And these are just BAT files that are already in the install. So again, you can do that multiple ways. If you do not have these BAT files, which I don't see why you wouldn't, but if you don't have them, you can also just go ahead and reboot your computer. So at this point, everything is, well, we're going to go ahead and exit our system. We're going to go back. We're going to exit out of our whole system, come back, Chrome, and then go ahead to our gateway, which is our local. And then we want to come over here to status again, log in, look at performance, and you see it is now at 4 gigs. So that is how you upgrade the system as far as the memory allocated to your HMI system, right? So just go ahead and note that if you do have a pre-existing system and you are working on that, it will interrupt that for a brief second with what I just showed you. Now, if you have to reboot, that will require probably, anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes based upon how your system's set up and how much resources your system has, right? So again, just make sure you go to these same points that I told you, and you want to go to data and then use the config, and then back up one folder, use the stop. You stop the ignition gateway. This is used to start the ignition gateway. So with that said, hopefully you learned a lot from this video. And again, this solves your issue with any kind of latency issues. Again, look at your resources too. Let me check, maybe verify it so you understand the resources that are allocated to your computer. This number that's set in the gateway cannot exceed that, okay? So if I go under performance and I look at memory, I currently am running 8 gigs of memory. I have 23 gigs left. So I can increase this up to 23 gigs and be perfectly fine. So with that said, hopefully you understand allocating resources a lot better and what to do and the reasons why. And we'll see you guys on the next one.